If you're new, welcome to the On the Spot Q&A. I come once a month to do a Q&A to support you and to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so we can just dive in because we have about 25 minutes here. If you have any questions or you're just here to listen, there's no requirement for you. You can literally just be here to see other people's questions and get support. What's amazing about this community format is even if you didn't have a question and you're not asking a question, you will get some insight and you will get some support by seeing other people questions getting answered. So there's no obligation for you here to even ask anything. Maybe you're just here because you want to be a part of this Q&A and just hear other people's answers. So we can start off in any way. Again, ask what your fear is, what your question is, try to condense it as much as possible, and how would you work on this within yourself? What wisdom would you get within yourself? So make sure that you are answering that. Okay, I've noticed that my ROCD symptoms have significantly improved, but that I tend to only feel good and anxiety-free when I'm falling in love. Feelings and butterflies. And the moment I notice those feelings aren't there, I relapse, wondering about tips for this. I think I have trouble trusting that the ebb and flow is normal. Okay, so how would you work with the situation, love? Loving to hear. Okay, here we go. I know intellectually that the ebb and flow feelings are normal. Not feeling in love feeling isn't bad. Okay, beautiful. I mean, you answered your own question, but I can give you a little bit of tips to this to start working on it. I want you to start congratulating and like almost tricking your brain and getting excited when the in love feelings aren't there. So ask yourself specifically, what feelings are triggering for you? Is it a feeling of disconnection? Is it a feeling of numbness? Is it a feeling of anxiety? What usually brings up the feelings of obsessiveness that you notice? And see if you can start to recognize that and start to recognize that those are the triggers for you. So if you're noticing like maybe disconnection or not feeling as connected with your partner is the triggering, or anything aside from feeling in love is triggering, then note that. Note that whenever those feelings come up or the lack of feelings come up, that is literally your celebration point, because that is your way to actually have deeper connection with your partner. We can't have deep connection with our partner unless we do have moments of disconnection, right? It's not possible to have feeling love and good feelings all the time. It's not human. It's actually not healthy for our brains to be in that state, or our nervous system. We need to actually have moments of disconnection in order for us to grow, in order for there to be challenge, in order for us to evolve. So my invitation for you as like a little condensed form is to start celebrating. How can you start to congratulate yourself, congratulating the moment, starting to like train your brain where it's like, oh, disconnection is here. This is the juicy part. This is the exciting part, because without this, the relationship actually doesn't have as much of a momentum of fertile ground. So the disconnection is a good sign. The disconnection is going to be your exposure work as well. So it's going to feel uncomfortable, but I know you said intellectually you understand the ebb and flow, but somatically your body doesn't understand it. On a nervous system level, your body doesn't understand it. So just leaning into that is my biggest takeaway for you. When I went on vacation, which I was nervous for, I noticed ROCD faded and different kind of phobias, anxiety came up. I'd be very afraid of open spaces, high buildings, health anxiety. After a few days, I feel stable again, no problem, and the things with my boyfriend come up, and the shitting, if we were enjoying it enough, if I was really happy. How to work on the things next time vacation, but even just exciting things. You're putting so much pressure on yourself when you have these thoughts or phobias. Label the thoughts without making a weird storyline. Compassion and kindness. Vacations are not perfect and sometimes bring stress beautifully. I love that wisdom for yourself. So your question is how to work within this the next time on vacation, but even just exciting things. I think like vacation times, the reason as to why it may be triggering for you is because there's more transition. Vacations have more uncertainty, right? Like we don't have our home. We're not really sure of our environments. There are things that are unknown. So what I'm picking up is probably your nervous system being like, oh my God, there's more things that are unknown. I'm going to go into anxiety and go into obsessive thinking to feel a sense of control, to feel a sense of certainty with what is going on. So we can bring compassion to that in sense of, ooh, transitions can definitely be hard. Transitions can be difficult for me. And not necessarily try to, stop the weird storyline or to stop the anxious feelings, but more so to give space to it. So when we go into a vacation, we start to bring the sense of, okay, vacations bring a little bit of uncertainty. So for me, I would actually start to maybe work in a way with your nervous system level. So what are some things that can bring you a little bit more certainty? Can you do certain routines or have a certain schedule during your vacation that creates a little bit more certainty and a little bit more grounding for you? So I would actually work with you on a nervous system level with that. But then I love that wisdom for you as well. We could go so much into this, love, and dive deeper and deeper into it and see, the anxiety behind it and stuff like that. But on a quick note, on a quick Q&A note, I would really be working on it in the sense of, a nervous system basis, root basis, grounded basis. What are some things that you feel you can bring more certainty to and more control over when you're on vacation? Because that can actually just help your nervous system not feel so anxious as well. You can even bring a teddy bear. You can even bring things that from home that feel more comfortable for you. But I'm picking up maybe the traveling feels uncertain and a little bit out of your comfort zone, which is why the anxiety comes up. Since a week, I've started to deal with HOCD. A thought popped that trying to be judgmental thoughts to be their questions are freaking me out. What if you're in denial? What is the disconnection? What is this lying? And I went to compulsion. If I can say stop focusing on the breath, but it all seems so real. This is so hard. How can we work with it? I'm really scared. ROCD together with HOCD, our protective mechanism wanted to protect me toward my relationship, my partner, going as my values, my person. It will use every beautiful. I love this. Yeah. What if you're in denial? What is this disconnection and feeling? Yeah, I mean, you brought it up so beautifully, and you're so right that the ROCD and the OCD and the HOCD is going to bring up every possible scary thing to really get you into that anxiety-based thinking, right? Like, it's so black or white. Like, there's no room for that, and that's why HOCD is so scary, sexual orientation is so scary for people, because it feels so black or white. What I'm picking up is like the what ifs are so predominant in your comment, like what if this, what if this, what if this, what if this? And it is really just like another tactic that the brain is using in order to create a sense of certainty or create a sense of control in the situation. I don't know if you have a specific question for this, love. I love how you condense this and I love your wisdom with it, but I feel like you're absolutely on the right track with this. Oh, how can you work with it? I feel like you're right on the track, right? Just understanding that the ROCD and the OCD can come up so incessantly and so intensely and can move on to something so black or white. And I would do some cognitive distortion work with this from the course. And lots of compassion with it too. Fear, I'm doing ERP wrong. I'm currently in a long-distance relationship, which makes it difficult to do exposure work. Yeah, I think that the thing about ERP and the way that we see it is that we're really, every time we're going into something that's anxiety-provoking, we are exposing ourselves, right? We are going into something in regards to doing things that are uncomfortable. So it's not necessarily doing ERP wrong or right. You can be working with a therapist who does ERP work as well. But the fear underlying the ERP work wrong is sometimes like the sense of it needs to be perfect or it needs to be a certain way. You can absolutely do ERP even if you're in a long-distance relationship. And a lot of times working it in a long-distance relationship is actually a lot more gentle and a lot more loving, which can actually be helpful for ROCD because it doesn't feel so intense or so invasive. So actually working with it in a long-distance relationship is actually a great way to titrate yourself into it when your partner's about to call you or when you're about to call them. Like, that itself is exposure work as well. So I feel like actually long-distance relationships are actually a great portal to actually work on ourselves and also a relationship in a way that's more gentle. Hopefully that was helpful for you, lovey. I would like to know the difference between a compulsion and the urgency of life. Indeed, I find it difficult to see the difference. I see perfectionism patterns here, and I just want to hug me and to say that I can be safe without all the answers. That's so beautiful. I would like to know the difference between a compulsion and the urgency of life. A compulsion is more so if I don't do it, then something bad is going to happen. right? That's more of a compulsive aspect. But urgency of life, the only thing that's coming up for me, urgency of life, is more so if there's like a dangerous situation in terms of your safety, or in terms of like you needing to take action because someone is out to get you, or there's like a flood and you need to get out of the house, or urgency of life in terms of, I'm not sure. Those are the only things that really come up for me. Urgency of life in terms of like actual safety. And then aside from that, a compulsion would be more so I need to do this now and I need to do it right now, or else the anxiety is going to be there and I'm going to feel bad. Like I need to, and a compulsion is more so around I need to do this or I'm going to feel bad right now. I need to do this or else something bad is going to happen. I need to do this because the anxiety and the obsessive thoughts feel so intolerable right now. I need to do this because what is here is uncomfortable. So a really great way to work with the compulsion is, can you be with what is here right now without escaping this moment? Can you bring a gentleness, a softness, an acceptance to what is here right now without needing to run out the door, right? That's really kind of the difference. I hope that answers your question. But I love that wisdom for yourself too. I think a big part of that is the loving kindness of the perfection patterns and hugging yourself and saying that you can be safe without all the answers, right? Or giving yourself and even your inner child and your nervous system like some answers of grounding, like I am safe right now. I am here for you right now. We are safe. We are in this room. We're in this house. We are safe, right? And I'm going like this because I'm tapping, because sometimes tapping can really be powerful with it as well. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I've been struggling with the theme of disgust, worrying that something is wrong if I'm not enjoying or feeling turned on during moments of intimacy, making out and sex. How can I tackle this during moments of anxiety? How am I supposed to lean into it and not get upset? Wisdom. I'm currently doing ERP with the therapist, so working these emotions when they arise. Beautiful. I love that so much. So in the course, I talked about why disgust comes up. I talked a lot about why we feel disgust toward our partners, why there's aversion, why there's like a sense of like grossness to our partners. And a big part of it is also like a sense of like the anxiety, right? Like if there's a tiger in the room, we're not going to have feel-good feelings. It's mostly feelings of aversion. And sometimes if we prolong that, there can be feelings of disgust. So when we can start to see that disgust in a lot of ways can also be part of the anxiety, that can also help us as well and not be such a representation or a dictation of our partner and our relationship. But I love your wisdom to it too. So yeah, start to see if you can move into disgust can be more like a push away, like you're trying to push away what's causing the anxiety, right? So it's not necessarily I'm disgusted at my partner is disgusting, even though it feels like that. It's usually a morphing of the anxiety itself. And that can be helpful. Oh, good. I'm so glad it was helpful. All right. Okay, so I see just a couple more questions from people who have already asked questions, so I just want to make sure I'm getting to everyone. My fear is that this course in the work isn't working and that I do this just because I am scared of leaving my partner. I would say to myself that this is ROCD, that don't trust the process. What is your question with that, love? You're so not alone with that. I talked a little bit about the fears as well yesterday in the Instagram post. Just like the fears and the blockages that we can have in regards to doing the work too. And there's a lot of resistance, right? There's a lot of resistance to going to therapy. There's a lot of resistance to going to coaching and doing all of these things that could be helpful for us. If we can start to also look into this work as we're doing it for us, yes, the partnership is going to become affected by the work that we do, but more so of the work that we're doing for ourselves, to be more curious of our projections, to be more curious of anxiety, more curious of the obsessive thoughts, then it takes less pressure off of is this ROCD or not. And then if there's a fear there of, well, what if something about my partner, then that's usually that blockage that I talked about in the post. But you're so not alone with that. My fear is that I'm truly not in love with my partner because I often feel bored and don't miss her when we aren't together. I fear that I'm wasting both of our time by remaining in the partnership. I imagine we could be happier with other people. Loving and fulfilling relationships can feel boring. If I don't miss my partner, doesn't mean I don't love her. Neither of us are wasting our time in a relationship because we're growing and learning. I would also continue Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think the one part that I would bring up within this is the acknowledgement of the feelings. Like, I love the cognitive, the wisdom coming through where you're like, if I don't miss them, it doesn't mean I don't love her. Neither of us are wasting our time. Like, sometimes that approach to ourselves, we're coming from a place of wisdom, but sometimes we're also like trying to fix the way that we're feeling. And so I want to bring in like this acceptance and this recognition of the somatic piece, because the somatic piece doesn't work with words. It works with allowance and feelings of acceptance of our feelings. So there could be those feelings that are coming up where you are feeling like you are wasting your time, right? Maybe you are feeling like you're not even growing. Maybe you are feeling like, you don't miss your partner and you feel like you don't love them. Like, can you also give space to the feelings that also feel like, what's the point? Can you also give space to that part of yourself that feels disappointed, that feels upset, that feels annoyed, right? We can give space to that and hold that space. Like, think of it as like a little child. Like, when a child is really upset, we have our wisdom, the child is next to us and they're like, well, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Or I feel like, we're not even growing. When we're talking to a child in a very compassionate way to help their nervous system, we are first and foremost saying, I know, it does feel like you're wasting your time, doesn't it? I know, sometimes it is so shitty. I know, sometimes it does really suck. And I'm here for you, and we are growing together, right? So we give space to the somatic emotional experience as well as we are bringing in that wisdom. So it's both. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Great question. Yeah. And so when our inner child feels like we're like dismissing them, they're going to keep getting upset until they are really felt. I read your recent email where you discussed your obsession with educating yourself and not necessarily implementing the practices. This is where I'm at. I work from home and socialize with others very little, so I find it harder to ERP. What would you recommend? Any wisdom exposures are better than nothing. Going shopping, going out with friends, going to the gym. The more you get out, the more you have to do. Beautiful. I love your response to your self-love. I would also, so like such a big part for you, I know that you're just starting off this work, and the beginning when we really start this work, there's like almost a sense of like urgency, like I need to get everything right. I need to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. I need to make sure I'm not missing anything. I need to make sure I'm doing ERP right. I need to make sure I'm doing these exercises and correctly in the right way. And that state of perfectionism can feel so painful because we constantly feel like we need to be doing more and more and more and more. When in reality, it is about educating yourself, yes. But a big piece of it is also giving so much gentleness and patience to the process. And this is for all of you here. There's nothing that you're going to fix tonight, overnight, next week, next month. Things are going to move and fluctuate and change according to the way that the brain and the nervous system decides, and that's not up to us. So a big piece to all of this is the kindness, the compassion. That's why the compassion piece is so huge in this course. The compassion of giving ourselves that space, that gentleness. Maybe the ERP isn't perfect. It's not going to be. Maybe sometimes we go out and sometimes we mope in bed. It's not going to be perfect. But throughout this process, we are choosing different things and doing different things. And alongside of it, we're going to make different mistakes. And we're not going to do it perfectly. And so actually the biggest piece to this is how are we giving kindness and compassion to ourselves throughout this process, truly. Because the fixing and trying to do it a certain way, I understand it. I was there. I educated myself through everything. But truly what it comes down to when we're doing that is there's something wrong with me. I need to fix it now. How can we be okay with what is here right now, today, in this moment? And how can we start to bring that gentleness to ourselves moving forward? I have been in the group for 1 month, and I'm infinitely grateful for everyone's support. I've been with my boyfriend for 10 years. I made a lot of progress, but I would like to better understand how I can deal better with down moments after a period of well-being. I lived 2 weeks in which the anxiety was almost gone. This week is back again since the emptiness. I would like to understand how to maintain that state of tranquility. So your biggest invitation for you, love, and for everyone here is how can you be okay and acceptance and compassion and love for the lack of tranquility? How can you be okay with what is here? So this is actually what I was talking about like a couple minutes ago. How can we start to bring acceptance and kindness and compassion and grace to what is here now without trying to fix it? We do things, we do loving actions to take care of ourselves in a whole embodied way. But can we also give space to the moments where we feel down? Can we also give space to the moments where we feel anxious? Where we don't feel anxiety free, right? That's actually a big, big, big piece to this. Okay, loves, it's 11:30, which means that it's been 30 minutes, so I'm going to get going. I hope that this Q&A was helpful for you. I'm sending everyone so much love, so much compassion. You guys are so amazing, and I'm so, so, so proud of you, okay? Keep up the amazing play. Keep up the amazing work. Thank yourself for being here. Thank yourself for just being so courageous for taking this really, really scary leap, for being here and expressing yourself and being vulnerable, and just notice all these people in this community who are just like you. Okay? Sending you all so much love, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.